one of the major features on the Xperia X1 is the Sony Ericsson panel interface. And it's kind of difficult to explain what panels are for, but really it's a series of home screens that you can relatively quickly switch between to give you different aspects of what you want to get to most easily on the phone. Kind of like how the latest S60 smartphones from Nokia have a bit of a dual homing capability. You can set one up for play and one for work. In this case, you get a bunch of different dedicated home screens, and you just tap one, the phone vibrates a bit, static image loads at first, then you'll see it come to life. Now it's live. This particular one just gives you certain status information and basically just provides you with the images of some fish just to keep you entertained. You tap somewhere on the screen and the fish will all swim over to it. You tap on one of the fish in particular and the fish will scurry away. Supposedly they change colors, do different things when you have messages waiting and stuff like that. I haven't read the manual, I'll be honest, and it hasn't been obvious to me. And in any event, it's not enough information for this really to be useful for me. But there are better home screens. You can see this panel. This is the one I had up before. Again, static image loads. Watch how everything will change once it goes live. You can reconfigure it for appointments. It's broken down into cells or blocks, so you can say what you want where. Got shortcuts for turning on and off Wi-Fi, airplane mode, things like that. Program shortcuts. We've got RSS news feed coming through here, and this is upcoming appointments, weather, all sorts of good stuff. And as I mentioned, you can configure it. You can say how many appointments you want to show up, how many blocks worth. I have no tasks showing. I could easily reduce the number of appointments and increase the number of tasks. We'll see that change reflected on the screen here in a second. There we have a few appointments and a few tasks. One of the panels that I downloaded freely is by SPB. I really like this one a lot. It gives you quick access to a lot of different information, a lot of applications, things like that, most recently Access programs. And it also gives you the traditional calendar and weather looks. I especially like this. It just shows you what day of the week it is and where you are on the calendar. So you can see that today is the 30th, which is a Tuesday. Of course, they all work in portrait mode as well. All the panels do. There are some other panels, of course. This is a fairly standard looking Windows Mobile panel, just like you would see on just about any other Windows Mobile touchscreen device. This one's just a large clock with some data on it. This here is just like the application you see on some of the other Sony Ericsson feature phones. Gives you the ability to move through, sort through your music, pictures, that kind of thing. Do slideshows. Bit of a Ken Burns effect here as it goes through the images. Pretty nice looking. There's a dedicated slideshow panel. It doesn't actually do much for me. Google panel, for those of you who live in a Google world. Quick access to Maps, Google Mail, Google Calendar, and the photos. And of course, the ever-present search box. Last panel I want to show you is the FM radio. But in order to use that, you have to have the headset plugged in. You can see this is a 3.5mm adapter, so as you can use regular headphones and still have the microphone and call answering capability on it, but that's good enough to act as the antenna here. So if we bring up the panel, the radio application loads, shows you the time. We'll hit the power switch here.
One official on the National Security Council to exclusively coordinate U.S. intelligence and foreign
Presets.
policy on combat.
It's mine, 1061.
Really works quite well. You can scan and seek for additional channels. You can listen through the headphones or through the speaker. Well, obviously we're listening through the speaker right now. For those of you that like FM radio, this is a really nice application. And a bit of a hat tip to Apple's CoverFlow. There are some additional ways you can look at the panels on the Xperia X1. If you just tap down here, kind of a CoverFlow-like method for going through the panels. I don't know that it's actually that useful. See, it goes two ways with the CoverFlow-like, and then the grid, which is far more obvious. There are settings. You can remove panels, shuffle them around, that kind of thing. And inside some of the panels themselves, like the Sony Ericsson panels, there are again the options for configuring what you get on the display and that kind of thing. Configure the RSS feeds and the applications that are in the launcher. One of the things I find disappointing in some of the panels, especially those from Sony Ericsson, is that you can't just start typing to find a contact. The standard Windows Mobile panel, which admittedly is quite plain looking, does support that. We can just start typing from here. We'll type John, and there you can see John Doe. View as contact. And edit it if you wish. A lot of different data bits that you can stick in there.